Hello, everybody out there in the blabosphere. Hey, it's Barbara Clark here, and we just came off of this wonderful 48-hour stream-a-thon that Paint Girly Lori organized, but streamers are, for 2 hour stretches and 1.5 hour stretches around the clock, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And boy, was it fun. Well, I met some new people there. And one of them, Raul from Spain, said he really would like to see some of my mandalas. I looked through my videos and realized I couldn't find where I had put my mandala. I couldn't find what videos I had my mandalas in, for heaven's sake. So anyway, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to show you my mandalas. But what I'm starting with is that this book, plus a few others in here, is a collection from Barb Owen's Mandala Madness class, which she launched in July of 2017, and it's available still from howtogetcreative.com. I'll put a link in the notes. So anyway, I had to do this kind of a map to this book because each process we used to make these mandalas was a different kind of process. And it was all amazing. Okay, so I'm going to start with this book. I'm going to come back to the cover because it's not the first one. The first one we did was what she called the Master Mandala, which is this one. And it shows, I'm reading from my notes here because who can remember? She named it the Master Mandala because it contains all of the different stages of mandala making: coloring, doodling, mounting onto background, all part of the Master Mandala. So these are concentric circles, 8-sided shapes. Draw one and repeat the shape around. Leave big open spaces for letters. I stenciled these pieces in before I colored and left them white. Colored with Marvi Ushida La Plume pigmented colors. Doodled with Pigma Micron 08. Highlighted with Jelly Roll Moonlight 06. So that's my basic Master Mandala. This was take 2 on the Master Mandala. So once again, it's 8 concentric circles. Here I used Inktense pencils so I can blend my colors a little bit better. I like this a lot better. Water brush on multimedia paper. I wanted to use a phrase, but not break up the phrase. So I like this. Follow your dreams, they know the way. And I just did a little bit of doodling in the sides of that. So the sky is the limit. I mean, look at this, is essentially the same starting place as this one. And look how different they are. This was a Zendala. And which is a form of a mandala, but it's not like starting in the center with the dot. So this is using Zentangles, Zentangle patterns. And I really think that's fun to do. This book, I should say a little bit about this book. This book is the amazing 16-page journal made out of a single sheet of watercolor or Arches paper. The 30 by 22 by 30, 24 by 30, whatever it is. So you get 10. You get these pages, and you get the pages that have folds in them, like so. Anyway, okay. So I'm just going to take these pages in order, and then we'll look up on the book. So what this one was, this was Mandala Flower, It's another one based on the 8-part Master Mandala. This is the Le Plume Pigment Colors. Tulip Black Raised Doodles. Pigma Micron 01 Fine Liner. This is the first one, the first of the different numbers that she gave us. She gave us a mandala map. So how to draw 7s around the circle and how to draw a mandala that has 7 points in it. And I love, in my notes, now we're talking, how to divide a circle into 7 parts. You measure from halfway up the radius of the circle, halfway up the radius of the circle to the edge of the circle, parallel to the horizontal line in the center. And then mark that interval around the circle. It fits exactly 7 times. So this is Inktense blocks, water pen, Jelly Roll white, Tulip Dimensional in the reds, Micron 5, and Jelly Roll Moonlight. I love the 7, 9, 11. 9 is easy because it's 3, right? It's 3 threes. This is one of the by hand number 1. And the by hand is one where you, with a pencil, you find the center of your mandala, but then put the pencil down, make a single black dot in the center with ink. So you know how to find the center of a square? You just do diagonally across the square in pencil, and you find that little point in the center, and that's the center of your square. And then later when you're done, you can cut it into a circle. Make a single black dot in the center with ink, then draw a small circle around it. Estimate distances and directions carefully. So you're going there. So this is a number 8. This is also 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's kind of the simplest form to draw. As you're doing this, draw one line and then repeat it all the way around. Prismacolor pencils, blender pencil, Micron black, some Jelly Roll Moonlight, and Jelly Roll Black Sparkle. This is number 2 Mandala Madness. A smaller 8-pointed mandala, that's this one. To fit, I made it so that it would fit on this fold-out page because it needed to be a little bit smaller than these pages. On a single sheet of watercolor paper. Painted with Inktense blocks and water brush, Signo Uniball white pen, Jelly Roll Moonlight 06. Then this one is number 3. See, these are 3s. Okay, this is 3. 1, 3, 3. But it's also 9, right? 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, is it? No. No, it's 3. Okay, it's not 9, it's 3. But wait, it's 9. 3, 6, 9. Okay, God, give me a rest. Divide the space into 3 sections, then into more sections, then letting it grow from the center, using watercolor paper spritzed with a light wash. Inktense blocks, Signo Uniball, Jelly Roll Moonlight, Micron 05 and 03. God, we did so many. Oh my God, we did so many. It gets totally confusing. So this was the mask. So this one, you cut a snowflake out of an 8 by 10 piece of paper. So this is, once again, it's 8. So see the crosses. You add a temporary glue and let it dry. And then you stick the mask down onto watercolor paper and paint around it. Then you shade it with Inktense. Or I shaded mine with Inktense. You can color it with whatever color you want. Add connecting lines, shapes within the white space. So after you do that, after you paint all this background color, then you're left with straight white in here. It's all white because you just masked the section off. And then you shade it, color whatever you want, and add shapes. And so I used Jelly Roll Moonlights. Bubbles background are from Katie. Katie. Oh, I'm going to think of her name. She did Bubbles background and I liked it. Okay. This is another by hand, number 2, on black cardstock. Start with a dot in the center, a small circle around it, and go from there using Jelly Roll Moonlight 06, different colors. Embellished with Jelly Roll Moonlights. This is just a pocket I made and added to this page because I needed a place to put my master list. So my master list sticks in here, and there it is. So I can't remember if these were, this is a year ahead of her Mandala Madness class. She demonstrated making a mandala with a pencil. This was in August 2016 with a pencil and a compass on her Friday show. Created a wash on a bunch of watercolor pieces. Then didn't like the finished mandalas on the background. Cut this mandala into 4 pieces and made one birthday card in 2016 for a friend. I still like it enough to repeat the ideas onto white watercolor paper. This was another one I made in 2016 when Barb Owen was demonstrating them. This is kind of one of my favorites. So I really like the way, get that under my camera. I really like the black and white, or the black on, on the color in the center of that. So this is another one where we pre-painted with watercolor paints. Focus, there you go. Then this one I think was just a color. This was a stencil, a Ken Oliver stencil, which I had. Painted with Deco Arts acrylic spray paint on watercolor paper. You gotta erase the pencil lines. What I learned, you gotta erase the pencil lines before you spray with acrylic paints. Can't get to them after that. Doodle in the white space, embellish, Crayola Super Tips watercolor pens, Jelly Roll Black Sparkle, and Moonlight 06. I added stickles. So we got a little bling in the middle of that one. Have I told you lately that I love mandalas? I love everybody's mandalas. This was a Barb Owen mandala. Let's see. Circles. This was still that before the class started. No, this was during the Mandala Madness class. This was in 2017. So these were 2 things. One of them, this was the first one I did, and this was what her class was. On a watercolor piece of paper, you do a background with black and white images. Text, book text. I've got some book text. I've got a little sketch. I've got some stamps. I've got some wrapping paper. And then you make a slurry of gesso and you paint over it. And this is where I learned an incredible tip from Barb Owen, and that is when you do your slurry of gesso and it's all dry under there, it's all dry and you want to do the pencil work on it or you want to draw your mandala on it and it's bumpy and it's got too much tooth to do black and white pen work, that's when you take a piece of paper, a paper bag, just like this, and you scrub it all over that background, and it makes it smooth as a baby's bottom. Anyway, so that one, I love that one. This is kind of maybe one of my favorites. Okay. Colored with Pitt Artist brush pens. They're transparent so that the background shows through. Embellish Posca white, Jelly Roll black, and white Pigma Micron 1 and 3, and edged with archival ink. That's one of my favorites. And I like this pattern so much, but I felt like this was kind of a failure at the way hers looked. So I tried to do that pattern again. So these two are the same pattern. Isn't that fun? It's just like you could just do the same pattern endlessly and not quite get tired of it. I mean, those are so completely different. They don't even look alike at all. And that is the end of my Mandala Madness, but the madness, of course, did not stop there. The madness continued. My madness, my dance with mandalas. Mandalas. So these are some more that I made outside of the class. Here's another 7. Remember, I like 7s. Here's another 8. So point, 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 and point. But I love the 7s. Give me a 7. Is that sweet or what? I don't know what it is about the odd numbers that make me so happy. This was using the Elegant Writer to color. So the only color on this is the Elegant Writer. Let me get that up there so you can really see it. When you dampen the corners of that and spread it out with a water brush, it creates all those wonderful colors. The black Elegant Writer. And this is a song that I like to sing that I wrote around here. I'm on an endless journey through eternity. Peace, be still. There is nowhere to rush. So here's a mandala. It's just utterly simple, but has a spiritual aspect to it. More 7s. Hold still, there you go. Barb does a lot of decoration on top of her mandalas. All of that is done with Jelly Roll pens and probably Inktense coloring underneath it. Such fun. I think this is another 8. See how different they can look? How different they can look. Look at that. Oh, when she gets to her Jelly Roll pens and does all this extra color on the top, she calls that the icing. The the icing on the mandala. So it says, see also 6/21/22. So I redid this one. Let me see if I can get to it real quick. Yeah. I redid this one because I like that, but I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun to have those look more like hearts? So I redid it. And I really like that. I did that in 22. Oops. I can't let you see my desk. It's so yucko. Because I didn't clean it up before I started, right? Who wants to clean it up before you start it? So here's a 5. 5 is interesting. I like 5. She gave us what she called mandala maps, and so she gave us the compass degrees to find all these points, and that was wonderful. Here's a 10. It's more red in person. It's funny that it looks so orange on the screen. It doesn't look red. It looks really orange. I like that. So there's the 5, the basis of the 5 in the center, and 5 there, and then somewhere around there it doubles. Each one of these is just such a treat to do, to finish, to see, and then to mount it in a black background like this just makes them pop, pop, pop. This was, let's see, oh, this is where she started Beyond Mandala Madness, another class in 2020, which she has not published yet. But a bunch of us took the Beyond Mandala Madness, just did more, always more. This is another one that we did in that class, I think. Yeah, April of 2020, March and April of 2020. And this was using a piece of music paper, the same way I did the collage on that other one to make the background. Just with a slurry of gesso and water to drop it back into the background, and then wipe it with your trusty little paper to smooth it out, and then you paint your mandala on top. She had us practice working out, warming up. So this was something I have from a stencil. I did that one day, warming up. Did this with ink tints and salt. You make a blob to warm up. You just make a blob on a page, however you want to make a blob. And then when it's all dry, you do something with it. This was a border, and I don't know where Barb got this, but this was a doodle border that she did, which I just love. I've got it in here a couple places. This was one to do black and graphite and one color, and I love that. It's a 6. Here's another blob. Love my blobs. You can't hate that, can you? I mean, that is just fun. And so, you know, when you put the blob of water and drop the watercolor into it, and then do a little blob around it and drop the, yeah, you know, just make blobs. I just love it. Ah, the dark side. So she wanted us to get a dark piece of paper, and we're only using the Jelly Roll Moonlights and the white Jelly Roll to make this one. Rather elegant, isn't it? These I really like too. This was to make a jelly print background. So these are jelly print backgrounds. Once again, where's my little thing? When you finish the jelly print and it's all rough, see that? Cleaned up. I really like both of these. I really, really like both of these. I like that just being simple and a monochromatic. Did that the same way. So yeah, in this book you don't see me keep the background very often, but because this was such a gorgeous jelly print, I had to, right? Here, it's the same jelly print session, but I didn't keep the background. Oh, here's that wonderful border. So I wish I could credit that border. I can't. Because I don't remember who taught her, where she learned it, or where she got the idea. But I just think it's marvelous. Let's see if I can get you in closer there. So the steps of the border are echo. You echo the outer edge of the mandala, and then you put little flower, little spiky things like that, and then you anchor the spiky things, and then you add spheres, and then you echo the whole thing, and then you come back for round 2 and you add more, so you can make it as thick as you want to. Love the border. This is a 9. So it's got a 3. So there's the 3 in the center. This video is getting pretty long. I'm embarrassed. Another blob. This was the scribble sticks warm up. Another mandala pattern. Another 9. I like my odd numbers. This was on a background that we had splattered with watercolor. So you can see splotchy things underneath there. I don't care for that much, but when I see it here, I think, cool. Oh, yes. Well, then we get into Inktober Tangles 2021, and they had to go in this book because this is the only book they'd fit in, right? So there were my ink tangles. I only did half of this. I got this idea from Zen Linny, who did hers on tiles and made them dance together like that. That was in 2021. So I did half of the pattern. This starts with number 19. Then a couple more tangles. Barb Owen makes these great cards. Where are they? They're somewhere here. You can get these from her website. I got an extra deck when she put them on sale. So I have instructions. Cut these up, use them, weave them, cut out the quotes, use this set. Yes, ma'am. So anyway, this was from Expand. So I just got the idea from that, and I made another graphite. I like the black and white. Isn't that pretty? It's very pretty. And then this was the repeat of the one I did in 2017. A friend and I do art together. We're in a book arts group and making a lot of books and stuff like that, but she had never played with mandalas, so I had her come over to show her how to make mandalas, and it turned her on to a whole new art form, as it does, right? So I call this the mini workshop with Bobby. Another just basic 8. And then I think that's the end of this book with Inktober Tangles from last October. Inktober Tangles 2022. So I started here, and I went there, I went there, I went there, and I went there. Again, thank you to Zen Lenny for the idea of weaving them all together like this, because I really liked it. So that is my mandala book, and I thank you all for watching. I love it. So get out your pen, get out your compass, get out your protractor. Make smart, y'all. It's fun. Also, you can also get Barb Owen's Mandala Madness class, I'm sure. I'll put the links below. All right, everybody. Have a great new year. Bye-bye.